2.5. Just cue it up. Go ahead.
Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Vincent Van Gogh, cut off his ear. Did he do it for love? Did he do it for fear? Who knows? Van Gogh. Dear Romeo, drank from the vial. Did he do it for love or was he just being wild? Who knows? Van Gogh. Stretch the kindness, brush with madness. Is it sadness or just to show that go, 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 Van Gogh, go, 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 Van Gogh, go, 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 go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dr. Joe Show.
Yeah, we're here.
Hi.
We're back. We're back doing our 2020. Why are we calling it 2020, Mark?
We are calling it in honor of Cherie Ribby, good friend of mine. Watched episode number 1, 2, and 3 faithfully and was like, you know what's a good idea? And I'm like, I am all for good ideas. I'm all for creation. What do you got, Cherie? Why don't you dial it back from the hour-and-a-half Joe Rogan platform that you're not ready for yet? And no, she didn't say that, but that's how I interpreted it because that's my IM, my IC, right?
There you go.
So 2020, the year's 2020. Why not do 2020? I'm like thinking, that show's been done. It was really popular. It'd be hard to do that. But she's like, no, 20 minutes long, 20-second pause. Now, if you remember those first 2 or 3 episodes that we were doing on this, it was all about how to deal with the anxiety. Take that 20 seconds, reflect. Where did it come from? How did it go from there? So she's like 20 minutes with a 20-second pause.
And during that 20 seconds, that's how long you should be washing your hands for. Those 20 seconds, about 2 happy birthdays worth. Think about that, 2 happy birthdays worth. And let's hope we have many more happy birthdays. And of course, washing your hands gets right into Semmelweis, which we will talk about. But first, let me just check in with you guys. Tom, how have you been doing?
I've been doing well. I think I've been drinking a little more than I have been in the past. I think that's going to be, I think that's going to be a problem for a lot of people because it's like, oh, I'm stuck at home. Might as well. It's 3 p.m. Might as well. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be putting on a little bit of weight.
Yeah, that's very honest. And it's also absolutely true. There is a huge risk for people, not just for weight gain, but for using, bored, depressed, anxious. And the problem is that every time you use a drug or alcohol to avoid a feeling, you begin convincing your brain that you're not strong enough to deal with those feelings. Now, if you don't think you're strong enough to deal with those feelings, what happens to those feelings?
Get stronger.
They get stronger because what you think affects what you feel. What you think affects what you feel. It's just the way the brain works. So that's why the first few shows, we went over the 4 R's. Recognize, rate, remember, reflect. Recognize you're anxious or depressed, whatever it is. Rate it between 1 and 10. Remember, it always gets less. And reflect, what was I thinking that made me anxious to begin with? And come up with the opposite thought. It actually is really important right now, especially for parents who are listening to here, because your kids, I believe, are at higher risk for using that first time right now. Get rid of those old prescription pain medicines you may have in your medicine cabinet. Get rid of the alcohol, lock all this stuff up, and be optimistic. Spend some time with your kids, because it's a rare opportunity for us to all be home at the same time and slow down. And I'm kind of wondering and almost hoping that this will become the new normal, not coronavirus, but recognizing that it's okay to slow down a little bit and spend time with our families and the people that we care about and that care about us. So just a little Dr. Joeism. Mark, what about you? What's going on with you?
I'm having an amazing experience. I really am. I mean, we had such a great weekend this weekend as a family. You know, it was like old school agrarian era. You know, I had a chainsaw. I was just cutting stuff that I would never have time to do. And we're pulling it in and we're building a fire and we're working out together as a family. We've got to work out with a deck of cards. So 52, you got the 52, we call it 52, 52 drop, or we really haven't named it yet, but it was taught to me by a good friend in town here who suggested it's an easy, free body weight workout. And you have different faces on the cards. You have different, what do you call them? You got clubs, hearts, diamonds,
spades,
Suits.
suits. You got a different suit. So each suit is a different exercise.
Oh, that's great.
So spades, push-ups, hearts, sit-ups, clubs, pull-ups or squats. I do squats. I can't do 12 pull-ups. That would I'd have a heart attack.
Right.
When we were doing it, I was like, kids, listen, which one of you knows CPR? Because that goes down on this one, someone's got to step up.
Watch out.
So we've been having a lot of fun and work's been ridiculous. I mean, it's like something out of a surreal movie. It's ridiculous.
Why? What's so ridiculous about it?
It's all drive-through, right?
We're doing drive-through closings, Dr. Joe. Thank God I have military and medical people in my family to be like, okay, here's what's happening. Here's what you need to do,
Yeah.
And I've got some other friends to lean on that are leaders with this rapidly, if you can't adapt, you die Darwinism that's going on.
Mm-hmm. And
it's really exciting. And I'm, my goal was to be enormously optimistic all year, and it's really helping.
That's great. I don't know. Can you guys hear what's going on in the other room in my house here, or
guys
not?
Having a sing along?
They are having dinner, and this is what it's all about, folks. Family is there. 3 out of my 4 kids. One of the girlfriends of one of my kids is here, and my wife, and that's what it's about.
On a Monday night.
On a Monday night, having dinner together.
Amazing.
Love it. I was just in there having dinner. I said, I gotta go and do the Dr. Joe 2020. Can you guys hold it down for a bit? That lasted about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And now they have completely forgotten. And they're just
so,
having fun. And I love it. Love it. I hope that's happening in your homes, folks. I really do.
It's so funny that you say that, Dr. Joe, because in the business context, right? People are working from home. And when you hear that baby crying, you can hear the anxiety of like, but it's so different now because this is reality. Like everybody's doing it. So it's like, hey, listen, if your kids are fighting, your dog's barking, I'm fine with that. So just don't let your anxiety kick up because I don't care. Like we could just talk and I'll pretend it's not even happening if you can pretend it's not happening.
It's our new normal, and maybe it will stay this way for a while. But I just want to segue this into Semmelweis when the truth is not enough, because we can learn from this amazing person in medical history who was dismissed. There was a lot of politics involved. He was Hungarian in Austria. Austria had actually annexed Hungary at that time in the 1840s to keep the Russians out. And so Hungarians were second-class citizens. They weren't believed, they weren't trusted, they weren't really valued. And yet here's this guy who is driven to save people, driven to save the lives of these poor women who had to go into a teaching hospital in order to be served. Many of them, it's really fascinating what these women did. Many of them would go into labor. They would give themselves certain chemicals, certain plant extracts. So they would go into labor on a certain day because there were doctor's wards and the midwife ward, right? And remember, the women are dying in the doctor's ward, but they're not dying in the midwife ward. And so the midwife ward had different admitting days. If you got to the hospital on a Monday, Wednesday, or a Friday, you admitted to the midwife ward. If you got there on a Tuesday, Thursday, or the weekend, you went to the doctor's ward. So these women would do everything they could to go into labor on the right day. And that's actually how the musical opens. The musical opens with them admitting women into the hospital. And they're desperate to get in on this particular day because they'll go to the midwife ward. But what I want to play for you right now is one of the songs that Semmelweis sings, and this is sung by Bob DeVivo, who played the lead role, Semmelweis, in our 2005 production in Boston. That's how old this musical, guys, is. 2005. I wrote this, started writing this musical in 1995. And I told that story a bit yesterday. You can go back and listen. So in this song, Semmelweis has brought the medical students into the amphitheater where he is teaching them about childbed fever. And he's got a cadaver in front of him, a woman who's just died, and he is about to do an autopsy and learn what's going on. You'll hear these women singing in the middle of their song. These are ghosts of dead women, at least in the original production. I'd love to know your opinion whether they should be ghosts or not, but ghosts of dead women singing, pleading with Semmelweis to help. So let's listen to it. Sung by Bob DeVivo. This song is called Look Inside.
Mysteries await just beneath the skin.
Mysteries await just beneath the skin.
Slowly part the curtains. The first scene now begins. Journey now to places few dare to travel in. Look inside for perfection. Look inside for direction. Look inside this reflection of us all. Wonders of our God secreted below, yielding, gently yielding to our scalpel sure and slow. What street she walked, to whom she talked, never will we know. Look inside for perfection. Look inside for direction. Look inside this reflection of us all.
Nameless angels, broken brides, breath to borrow, childbed fever took our lives, turned our joy to sorrow.
Restless souls around your table.
Restless souls round your table.
Helpless ghosts at your fingertips. Join our cry to the heavens. Why must we die?
So Joe, this is your musical we're listening to right now.
It's my musical. I wrote the book, the music, and the lyrics.
So where does it stand right now?
From today,
From today,
you are students of a science growing up. Pave the
leading to
way.
the students.
Lead the
Lead the way. Lead the way.
From today, you are adding to this rich and ancient cup. Pave the way. Lead the way. Maybe one of you will find the promised land, emerge as our next teacher, and stand where I now stand. Hippocrates awaits you. Reach out and take his hand. Look inside for perfection. Look inside for direction. Look inside this reflection of us all. Look inside this reflection of us all.
Marcus Hulk playing the piano.
That's amazing. That's great.
So you were asking, where am I? So what do you think of that, Tom? Have you guys have never have you heard of this before? What do you think?
No, I haven't heard that one. I think they'd be better as ghosts. Either ghosts or I don't know.
It's
I
like that
wouldn't work as like a
Rosencrantz and Rosencrantz and Guildenstein feel, with the muse kind of thing. But I want to know like where you're at with it. Like it's written, it's ready. Like I think it couldn't be timed any better. The story is so appropriate right now. Like, what are you doing with it? I mean, you're gonna do this production, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely ready to go. Looking for some benefactors, but I have an idea in mind, which I will share with you a little later in the week, because we may be able to do the very first online version of what really could be a Broadway musical, Semmelweis, When the Truth Is Not Enough. So stay tuned. But the idea is, here's this man who is determined to save lives, and he makes his discovery and no one believes him. And we're going to jump off this in a moment. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. We'll be here Wednesday. But here's something that is mind-blowing to me. And this is what I really think drove Semmelweis crazy, because he winds up committing suicide by infecting himself and dying of childbed fever in an insane asylum. But for me, when I was learning about this, I thought, how could God give this man the answer that would save millions, if not billions of lives over time? And no one believed him. That's the part that for me was so compelling. And in Act 2, Semmelweis has a song, To God. And we'll come back to that in another night. So Semmelweis, When the Truth Is Not Enough, that's what we're facing right now, folks. We know this coronavirus is real. We know what it can do, but we can come together and help each other. Let's look inside this reflection of us all.
That was great. That was great. Awesome episode. And
Wednesday night?
Right at 20 minutes. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thomas, what are you doing tomorrow night? Should we go Dr. Joe list tomorrow?
I'm willing if you are.
Joe-less, Dr. Joe-less. I love it. Wish Carol a happy birthday for us, buddy. We'd love it. But we'll see you on Wednesday.
I'll be here Wednesday, folks.
All
Good
right.
night.
Night.
All right.
Bye.